Hey guys, Youthful Yields here. So yeah, let's get into the video. New weekly portfolio video here. So basically, really exciting week. So just to point out before I forget, I'm going to be depositing either 1,500 or 2,000. Um, the goal was to do 2,000, but we've just slowly been working up to it. I think we're, by we, I mean me and my wife. I think we're at a point to be able to do 2,000 a month, just between us two. So yeah, we might even do more. She's talking about doing more, but I'm trying to play it a little safe. So we'll see. I'll up to you guys on how that goes. But that will happen on the 18th. What's really exciting though is the growth that we had this week. So we are up $200, which is crazy. 2%, which is super nice. Funny enough, most of that actually came from this side of the portfolio. So if we come to invest and we go to a week, you can see here, QTAL, the one I was saying I was probably going to get rid of, actually had a pretty insane week. And then WiMAX had an equally good week. On top of that, we had dividends, and also, not that I didn't remember doing this, but whatever. Security lending interest. So, got a whopping 16 cents. But hey, better 16 cents than nothing, right? So, and then the dividend for $40.15. So, yeah, not bad. But actually, I'm pretty sure we lost money technically on this side of the portfolio. So I think we're down about $100 from last week, which is kind of annoying. But I still have faith, obviously. We're slowly closing that gap between, when we initially opened it. Moving on, we can see the S&P 500 side of the portfolio in terms of if we were to actually keep S&P 500 is up about 1.5%, but we are up past that, so that's good. Another thing to note with this comparison between the two is the Webull account I just showed. Basically, the MSTZ that we're holding is actually dragging us down. So if we didn't even hold MSTZ, we'd actually be up another $100. So we'd be about $300, which is crazy. But yeah, another thing I wanted to point out was I've gone ahead and added the running contributions under this thing. I'm sure I probably could have done it here as well, but I just found it easier to do it this way. But basically, let me zoom in here. I've gone ahead and added it to the chart so that we can see kind of how much money we've put in versus how much money, S&P 500 portfolio would be versus our portfolio currently. So it's kind of a good indication. Now, obviously, like right now, for example, this line is it's a little bit annoying, but $9,010, and our portfolio is currently worth $9,822. So there's that. S&P 500 is worth $9,500. So, yeah. And I do gotta fix this part here because this is broken. When I was moving around the thingies, it just got all jacked up. So B5 is correct, but yeah, I'll do that off camera. Let's see. Is there anything interesting? So the only other thing I wanted to point out is I did just take a look today. So I do have technically 4 accounts from last year, just because I switched around so much, which I really shouldn't have. But so that includes Robinhood, M1 Finance, Webull, and SoFi. So I have received SoFi and Robinhood. I'm just waiting on M1 Finance and Webull. The only unfortunate thing is, and this is my first year in M1 Finance, people say that their 1099 forms are, first of all, typically kind of pushed out later. So we'll see if it comes within the next week or, 2. But a lot of people are actually saying that it ends up getting corrected in April. So, even if I were to do my taxes now, for example, I would need to, I think, refile them with that corrected 1099 form. So we'll see. But once I get all 4 of the forms, regardless of the correction or not, I will go ahead and make a video on that. I just don't want to make 2 videos going over, 2 of the forms and 2 videos going over the other 2 forms. So when I get all the forms in one place, I'll go ahead and kind of go over all of the dividends, and the taxes, the tax implications that we had, and how return of capital kind of went into those. So yeah, but yeah, as for my buying, I think I'm just gonna stick to WiMAX for now, for a little bit longer at least. I think it's still performing technically above AIPI. So if we look here real quick, AIPI charting, I say WiMAX. So, and then total return. And let's get rid of price return. So if we look straight just from September 19th, which is usually what I do, we can see that WiMAX is up about 2%. Now, I also need to stop holding on so far back at this point. Potentially, I think once we hit March, especially, it's just going to be better to look at year to date, but we can look at that now. And you can see here that AIPI is actually up on WiMAX. So not by much, but it just shows you that, that initial, yes, we are technically having higher distributions for WiMAX, right? I think we're averaging 53% or something like that. 3-month average of 53%. Whereas AIPI averages 35%. It doesn't matter when it comes to the share price. And this is something we experienced in my portfolio right here, right? The first week or 2 of of January, we took a huge hit. And WiMAX is our biggest holding. Yes, both of them fell, but you can see how much further WiMAX fell here from, here to here. That was the week of the 6th, or, the 6th going into the next week. So, I don't know. Just something to keep in mind. Obviously, it looks like WiMAX is coming back up on this chart. You can see the growth here is much further than the growth on AIPI. But this is something I've been taking a look at. I just, obviously I've got a long time until I have to retire off these funds. In terms of this just being my only income source, or my main income source. So we're fine, but I would like to get to a point eventually where we find a stock, an ETF that has a very high dividend yield, but also is stable, right? That's the dream of any income investor, obviously. Is have the highest yield with the most stability. It's very hard to do that. So that's why I'm so interested in AIPI, because 35% is pretty significant. And it's noticed, I don't think, any NAV decay. We can take a look here real quick. Other than the initial thing, you can see it's been hovering around the same price since August. Now, that's another thing, though. This is not a long time, right? WiMAX has been out a lot longer, but to be fair, whenever we talk about WiMAX on this channel, we talk about the September 19th, because that's when they did their strategy change, or around then. So that's why we talk about that specific date. And even then, so that's actually, further back in terms of like less days back than this is. So technically they're both not very valid strategies in terms of, proven track record. So I don't know. It might just get to a point where we need to use these funds to kind of bootstrap our account. This has kind of been my goal. And then we just slowly transition into safer funds that are, hovering around like 11%. And also try to diversify more into, BDCs, REITs, and that kind of stuff. We'll see though. It's definitely a long time away. Our account's only worth about 10K, which, by the way, we are going to cross 10K next week. Regardless, whether or not we'll keep that, like this, what happened here, who knows? But we are going to cross it, which is nice. So yeah. But that's it for me, guys. And as always, I wish you a wealthy future.